All right, Robin Lambert, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
So I asked you to come on for two reasons. I guess plenty of reasons. We know each other from the gym. Mm-hmm. You've worked out with us. I actually first met your husband, Dave, who's a total bro, in my opinion, and have engaged with the whole family over the years. But I was just on Facebook one day, and I saw this picture of you probably I don't know, Danny was probably 5 or something, right? I see you all the time now, and I forget, I just recognize the size of the transformation of everything. And I was like, and I had, I guess you actually know Cody Davis. Mm-hmm. He and I had a similar conversation. We worked together. But what caused you to make this a wellness lifestyle? Because you have a lot of stuff going on. What made you just one day decided to do this?
Well, it was the summer of 2016. We had a National Nursing Home Week at the nursing home, and we were making cotton candy. I don't like pictures. I didn't do pictures, but somebody had took a picture of me, a side picture of me holding cotton candy. And when I saw that picture, it dawned on me just how large I had gotten. At that time, I was 315 pounds, and I knew I had to do something.
How did you feel at that, your just overall wellness level compared to now?
I couldn't do anything but work and come home and nap. I wasn't fit for my family. I didn't want to do anything with my kids because I was tired all the time. My hips hurt. My back was always
Aches and
out.
Pains, yeah.
So it was pretty difficult.
Do you think that was just inflammation from
the weight?
Yeah.
From the joints having to carry that much weight around.
I notice if I just have extra sugar in my diet, mm-hmm. I get joint pain in my knees particularly. Mm-hmm. But that is, things that I talk to people about this all the time, because when you're a kid, you are basically just born into whatever your parents' diet's going to be. That's how it was for me, which mm-hmm. was Dr. Thunders and Mountain Lightnings mm-hmm. and stuff like that, all growing up. And you have to learn. And we live in a great time where there's a YouTube video for everything and a Quora or Google form or something. But
we always had dessert after supper every single night. We had to have a dessert, whether it was a scoop of ice cream or a brownie. And this was growing up. That was what my dad expected, was a dessert with supper, and that's how we were raised.
What sort of dietary changes have you made?
Well, for the first 18 months, I was, lean meat, lots of steamed veggies, watching everything that goes in, making sure I get 80 to 100 grams of protein a day. And then my husband decides to go vegan. So that was a complete change for me, because, I'm going from eating all these lean meats to my husband saying I don't want any dairy or oils or,
Dairy jacks with me.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
And I can really tell a difference if I drink something that has milk in it versus a soy or almond milk. Oh, yeah, you can.
Yet all growing up, all my whole public school education, let me get an extra chocolate milk with that lunch tray, please. Right. That was it, chocolate milk. And then that was a habit that carried over into my adulthood. And people say chocolate milk's the greatest post-workout recovery. It's not great for your digestion. Right. Most people,
yeah. Well, I can tell.
Yeah, me too. Do you do any, I've started doing kombucha the last probably 6 or 8 months.
I've tried it. I can't stomach it yet.
Do you do anything for probiotics?
No.
That's one thing I have found has really eased my digestion. I was having some weird kind of pain in my stomach, and it has been gone for months. But I started doing kombucha and a vitamin D and just a really nice garlic supplement. And it's I've stayed really regimented with that. But the kombucha is a really good probiotic. So.
I do aloe vera. I take one of those tabs and slippery elm for my stomach.
Okay, aloe vera. See, that's I had this surgery 6 years ago now, hernia repair. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I got out of the hospital, I had this autoimmune disease pop up. It was a weird type of psoriasis. Mm-hmm. My dermatologist, Angela Stiles, she said it was guttate psoriasis. But it just went away. Mm-hmm. in the last 2 winters, it's kind of flared up in these like very small areas, like an area where like my elbows would be like on like my forearm would be on my desk. Like it's almost like a contact now. But I was just reading an article yesterday talking about how aloe vera is good for psoriasis treatment and just as internal and external, you can ingest it.
Right.
So what this was, so now I perceive you as this confident, strong person, right? Like
Complete lifestyle.
yeah, when I see, I'm like inspired by your posts on Facebook. So like how did this affect your perception and confidence, like to engage societally more and otherwise, to do more things for yourself, to just kind of have this lifestyle that you're doing right now?
Well, once I started having the weight loss, everyone would ask me, what I had done. And I wasn't one of those to say, diet and exercise, because a lot of people that had gastric bypass had said they weren't going to tell anybody. But I wasn't one of those people, because I tried everything. If something worked for me, why would I hide that from somebody? So, I was upfront and honest with everybody whenever I had the procedure done. So if they come out and ask me, hey, what have you done?
How long has it been since you had it done?
The 27th of this month will be 3 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was 309 pounds when I attended my first seminar. And then I'm 170 now. So my BMIs went from 46 and a half to 25. And
you have lean muscle, like I saw you flexing in the mirror the other day, and that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. And I know that there has to be from now to this photo that I said I saw, this sort of perception change. Like the way I perceive you changed. I was like, wow, I never knew Robin was this interesting of a person, or it's just like, and I wonder why that is. If it is. When we don't have good wellness, we kind of disengage, or people disengage from us that have, I don't know what the disconnect is, but I just thought it was so interesting, the perception change. I wondered how your perception had changed.
Well, as soon as I was able to start working out, I got the clearance at like 4 weeks. And so I just started and I never stopped. So I worked out and toned while I had my weight loss. So it helped my body recover a lot faster, and it helped with the skin and the stretching and everything. But 18 months is when I started joining Forza and doing the kickboxing fitness classes, and I've been doing that now for the past year and a half, and that's a total body
That's an
workout.
Anaerobic. That's just such a unique, like when you do something like hit a bag and alternate those.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Well, what other things have you been doing? Just like overall wellness wise, exercise. I mean, even myself, I own a gym and I have to go do cardio at St. Mary's, Yeah. So what are some things that you've been doing that just is working for you?
I am a competitive speed walker now. I usually help to coach this women's group in Russellville who teaches women how to get off the couch and do their first 5K. So it's Runnerville's training group is what we're called, and we'll start this February. But last February, I didn't want to be a coach because I didn't feel like I had enough time to give them what I needed, because we're adding on to my work.
I saw that.
So
that's thing two I want to talk about later.
So I said, I'll just sign up and learn how to walk from, Bentley was one of the speed walkers there at the clinic, and he's one of the best male speed walkers in the state. So I wanted to just train with him, and I was good, really good. So that's what I do. I'm a competitive speed walker. I've won overalls, numerous 5Ks. I trained throughout the whole summer because my goal was to win the overall for the Soaring Wings 10K in Conway, and I did.
Nice, nice.
So I do a lot of speed walking. Don't do that at the gym on the treadmill because I'm too worried about tripping on the treadmill because of the movement.
Yeah.
Since you have to keep one foot on the ground at all time when you speed walk. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I like doing the Stairmaster. I do that a lot, and there is it's called an art trainer there at Planet Fitness. I use that one a lot.
They're super convenient. What is that? Is Planet Fitness essentially, for what they offer, about the only 24-hour gym around?
Yeah.
for convenience. I mean, even St. Mary's, they have good hours, but I was like, I would have gone today to like sauna and stuff before you came over. They don't open till 1, so I'm gonna go after we get done.
Yeah.
But stair climber's great. Do you do the elliptical very much?
Not much. The art trainer is similar in the movement, but it works my arms also. So
nice. How like aches and pains wise, all that's kind of gone away. Nice.
The only aches and pains I feel is a good soreness after a really good workout when Heather kills us in the mornings.
Good.
And if you don't feel it, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah, well, and that's it. Like, that's what I'm so interested in, like, with Cody and you is again, like, what, just like, say you're in front of the bag, and I mean, yeah, you got Cora, Heather there yelling at you, do this many of this, or push-ups, or whatever it is, but you could still do that half-heartedly and not experience the result. Right. So it's like, it's a transformation and that kind of thing, too. Of this, like, to push yourself in all areas, not just like I'm going to, cut out red meat or whatever minor little changes that we always make to kind of try and better things. But what other things, wellness wise, this overall approach have you altered?
I started biking.
Okay. Well, like what? You just trails here in town?
Mountain biking. I like that better than road biking. Dave got me a road bike, so I'm trying to do that, but it's riding with traffic. When I'm on the streets doing my speed walking, you go facing the traffic, but riding along with the traffic, it's kind of scary. It's a head trip.
Yeah, I used to have this thing. It's called an urban bike. It actually got stolen when I lived in my apartment, but it was good. I rode it back and forth to campus. I lived over at Shadow Lake, so I could just hop over on Phoenix. And just, I would go down to El Paso usually and just cruise in. But I was always scared. And I remember one time somebody passed me and I was just like doing and I was being courteous and everything and just riding down the road and they're like, sidewalk, asshole. Yeah. And I was like, it's against the law to ride on the sidewalk, guys. I'm sorry. But I had somebody kind of, there was a weird traffic exchange. I don't even really remember how it went, but I had a wreck and then I kind of stopped urban biking a whole lot. It was nice to drive to campus, but I liked going riding on Bonadilla and doing trails and stuff too. Where'd you get your bike at? Here in town?
Yeah, at Cars.
They have a great selection. A lot of brands. I bought mine at Papa Willie's back in the day, which for a while the same guy was their bike guy. Doug was his name. But so biking, just general, you have a fitness membership, you do cross training, so you train at our gym. I can't say enough about that. Just the overall approach, like you can't do just one thing. You can't just go walking. You have to
mix it up.
And find what advice would you have for people? Have you tried things that you didn't like and just discarded it, or do you just make yourself do things you don't like, or what?
You just got to make yourself do things, because you'll find something you don't like in everything you do.
That's a great point. Yeah. So do you supplement? What do you take? Like I was saying, I take vitamin D and garlic and fish oils.
Always have because of my procedure. I'll always have to take multivitamins and calcium citrate, just because the malabsorption with the rerouting of my intestines. I will have to take a calcium supplement for the rest of my life. So. Yeah.
Okay. So I know several people that have had that procedure done, and either they improve their situation a little bit, or maybe not at all,
right?
Or maybe in a shorter term than you have. So that's what like what is notable about all this. And then too, I know somebody that had the procedure done. So friends with Cora. And then she got it reversed. Like she was able to go in and, like, I guess not, get it undone so she could, like, her stomach would be bigger again. I don't know. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I don't know if they maybe she had the band procedure done. Is that a different?
You can have the band taken out, and it gives you your full amount of your stomach back after that.
Yeah. Do you know anything about that? Is that like the same procedure that's a different procedure? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm uneducated.
Yeah,
so
it's okay.
All right. That's why I wanted to have you on though. Like, what would you say about either one of those procedures? I'm sure you did your research.
Well, The band, there's always slipping. Every procedure, it's different for everyone. But with the amount of weight that I needed, that was the best option for me was the gastric bypass. I needed to have that. If you eat something you're not supposed to eat, there's repercussions. You'll get sick, you'll know it. But with the other surgeries, you could, like, if you had the sleeve done, you can have slider foods and it goes right through you, so you don't have the difficult problems with getting sick if you eat something you're not supposed to. I needed to have that mentally because, I was a food addict. And,
what was your weakness, like diet wise, if you don't mind?
Everything. I thought about food constantly.
Maple donuts.
I would eat breakfast and think about what I was going to have for lunch. And when I was eating lunch, what am I going to have for supper? And we based our vacations around what restaurants, and we had our meals planned out. And it's an addiction.
It really is. And it's an addiction in that, like, I have this cold brew coffee right here. I'm definitely addicted to it. I wake up and I'm like, I need it. And then I drink it and I feel great. Mm-hmm. But it is definitely something like caffeine, sugar. Like, you notice yourself almost going through a minor physical withdrawal. Mm-hmm. In a very similar sense that somebody like taking a pharmaceutical and then not taking it would experience. That's what just... Yeah. Having had surgeries and stuff and taking hydrocodone for a couple weeks and then not taking it or this and that, you notice a change. Kind of a difference and the couple of days of roughness and irritability. And that is, with food, it's like you almost wouldn't think that. It's like it's definitely not something that I learned growing up. Mm-hmm. I had to age and figure it out. Have you had any issues with with your digestion post-op, indigestion, anything like that?
I battle constipation. That's about it. But I've finally, I got the right amount of senna going that I'm regular. So,
do you do like fiber supplements or anything like that?
No.
See, I am looking for a good fiber supplement to just keep consistent because I do if I like just mixing a fiber supplement, something like this. And I have this, these, a lion's mane mushroom, mm-hmm. non-magic mushroom, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Some powder, and you can put it in about anything. Oh, wow. And it's so good for just clarity. I've only been doing it a short time. I already noticed a difference, mm-hmm. But, I'm talking to people all the time about this, what works for you? Is that going to work for me? Is it going to work for a student that asks me advice and I can say, well, let's work for Robin or, so tell me a little bit about your job. For me, I'm probably you work, is it a retirement home?
It's a skilled nursing facility and also long-term care.
Okay. What sort of residents do you serve there?
We have private pay residents. We have residents that are total care. We have one assist. We have various different levels. It's not like an assisted living. We provide 24-hour care there. So from CNAs to nurses, we have rehab also. If they want to come in for a short stay for rehab, we have rehab suites. 120 beds, currently have 112 residents, and hopefully the 1st of January, my 700 hall will be open, so that'll give me a total of 140 beds.
Oh, nice. How many employees do you have?
I manage about 165 employees. Wow.
Yeah, you're doing a large-scale operation there. And how does this work? Is this a federally funded? Is there some attachment there? Is this a state thing?
We're governed by the Office of Long-Term Care. CMS mandates we get paid Medicare and Medicaid funding. So, of course, everything that we do there, we have to abide by the rules of the government.
I've got a rubric over here for work right now, so I know. Yeah. What you're saying. I have to start calculating how many minutes I assign of work outside of class because of the federal government. But anyway, so I can't imagine what you're dealing with that many employees. Mm-hmm. Do you have what's your job entail as a leader of this facility? Because you are
as the administrator. Yeah, okay. I run the whole facility, I have department heads for every, I have a supervisor for laundry and housekeeping. And then my director of nursing, she oversees all of the nursing personnel, which is all the direct care, and that's the LPNs, RNs, and CNAs. So she has the biggest portion of the departments. And then I have all of my administration. And my dietary manager, she oversees the kitchen, and she's wonderful. They're all wonderful. I have a great team.
Yes.
I really do.
Well, that's great. So you have what we would say in historical military terms, a cohesive command structure.
Yes.
That was one thing I was reading. I was down in a Civil War rabbit hole for work. And I was reading that every general has to kind of go through a sort of a training period with their army before they go in the field, where they're not only training their soldiers, the infantry and the cavalry and stuff like that, but they are training their command structure. They have to create the non-existent cohesive command structure between the general and the captains and the lieutenants and on down the line. And it's a process that if you don't go through it, and you're lightly trained, you're gonna struggle in the field, is the idea. And that was why, and until Gettysburg, the North won no significant battles for that reason. They didn't have time to create the command structure. So, do you have like HR department, payroll, and all that? So
yes, my HR does the payroll. We contract with a company in Fort Smith that does our payroll for us, the check part of it. I have a business office manager, an admissions RN who's also my discharge RN. I have medical records, CNA supervisors, CNA lead CNAs, a therapy department.
do you have to do committees and stuff like that to kind of?
Oh yes, we have life safety committee. We got a weight loss committee, a med review committee, QA committee. If there's a problem, there's a committee for it.
Yes. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, these are the types of things that I serve on a couple of committees at work myself. And I pick different ones so I can empathize with different things, within where it's like people that got dropped out of class or financial aid and stuff like that. So what got you into this line of work? How long have you been doing this? I remember when that facility opened. What got you here?
In 1996 is when I graduated high school, and I was set to go to college, but the Lord had different plans for me because I was pregnant, and I ended up not going to college, so I went to be a CNA instead. 17 years old, starting out at a nursing home to be a CNA, and it just grew from there. I fell in love with it. Went a year later after Ash was born into nursing school and got my LPN and started at a nursing home in Dardanelle in 1998. And
I think maybe one of my students' moms, she does a nursing home in Dardanelle. I don't know if it's the same one. John Brashear at the gym. His mom does something over in Dardanelle with a nursing home. So,
but I worked there till 2013. And that's when I went to be the administrator at a facility that they acquired in Lamar and worked there for...
What was the name of that one?
It was Countryside in Lamar.
Okay, yeah.
Then they acquired it in May of 2013. And
is that right on 64? Okay, yeah.
And we were there long enough for them to purchase land and buy or build a new facility for us.
Did you guys run into any... not you directly, or maybe you directly, when that facility was being built, with any controversies or anything around it? I remember somebody, because there's that really nice house sitting right there, and you guys, there's a berm, and stuff, right. But I remember hearing people gripe and stuff, being from Clarksville.
Yeah, the owners never said anything negative to us, but the house has been for sale several times since we put the facility in, but they never come over. They were always the nicest.
That's good. That's good. Well, I mean, it's not, that's something that people kind of complain about. I know a guy here in town, and his neighbor, he kind of had this through the trees view of the lake, and his neighbor built, there was it was kind of an open spot, and his neighbor built a carport there on his land that he owned, and this guy lost it. It's like, you ruined my view. You ruined it. And so just seeing people act that way, I was just like, yeah, but you didn't buy the sky over there, man. But yeah, and I heard about this guy on Facebook. I'm friends with him. I know who he is. And then one of the guys at the gym works on the crew. He's one of my boxers. Works on the crew that was building the carport, and he said he came over there, was losing it, and I was just like, "What?" Like, it was an unfolding story, and I was like, "Dude, I bought a guitar from that guy. I know who you're talking about."
That's crazy.
So it is. But I wondered if you dealt with anything like that.
No.
Well, that's great.
No, the whole community of Clarksville was just ecstatic to have something. We're the only skilled nursing facility in the county, and for Clarksville to have something like that, compared to the facilities that were there.
Are there any other facilities there now?
No.
There was one. I grew up on Central Street down there on the Spatter Creek Levee. And there was one down there. It's like by the post office and that gigantic Methodist church.
Clarksville Retirement Center?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there. But it was very small.
Yeah.
And but it was probably like 5 houses down the street from where I grew up. I lived next to the last house down that street, like right on the nature trail.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah.
Yep, it's still there.
Yeah. Are you some of your residents, or they drive themselves around? No, not at all.
When they come in there, they don't leave the facility. They don't drive. They need 24-hour care to live there.
Okay. And I'm without dropping names. I know some people that work there, but you guys provide all sorts of activities for these people, right? Like, what are some awesome things you do for your residents?
Oh my gosh, what don't we do for the residents? I have 2 great activity directors. Jennifer, she's over the biggest portion of the facility. And then I have Ben. He's over.
Ben. See, Ben and I graduated together.
I have Ben over the observation unit, which is a unit that is a secured unit for. It's a 30-bed unit for residents who have dementia that has progressed to where they're having behaviors or elopement issues, or they're a wanderer. Or if they're a frequent faller, we put them back there because there's closer monitoring on that hall.
So with Ben, he posts that he does some things. Like, one thing I want to talk to you about within this topic was this music and memory. This is something that I own 20 instruments. Don't tell Course. I don't think she knows I have that many. But I notice it's almost like doing my times tables when I play scales on the guitar and do things in patterns, or when I was working my logic equations. Like, I think it's positive for your brain. But what do you know about that? I mean, have you seen direct results? Like, what can you say?
We had a little lady who got very upset, more so in the evenings, and come to find out she knew how to play the piano. And it just been putting her in front of that piano brought back her memory of playing.
Wow, I've seen videos of that.
She started teaching. Ben was like, okay, well, let's do classes to where you're teaching some of the other residents how to play. And so she'd sit there, and as she felt as an instructor, she's teaching these residents how to play, and completely reversed her agitation and anxiety that she was having.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I derive a lot from just watching. So, like, my classes, how students are acting in the hall, outside my office, and in the classroom, and in the student center. But just like the empirical observation of what you see day in, day out in the aging community. Like, what do you think some of the main issues these people are facing? Like, I mean, are they disenfranchised in any way? I mean, what?
I think the biggest thing with them is not being able to tell us what they want. So you're having to watch them and their mannerisms and try to figure out, okay, is it because they're hungry? Are they hurting? Do they need to go to the bathroom? I have a crew that's really good with interviewing the family and talking to the resident, getting as much knowledge as we can on these residents, so that when they start having or developing different types of problems, they can pinpoint it. Okay, well, one lady, she was a forced ranger, so we thought she was attempting to elope every day, going to the door. Well, it comes to find out she lived her life outside, and all she wanted to do was go outside and sit on the patio in the sun. Yeah. It's something just as simple as
routine.
Just reading into it more with the family, and you got to know your people. I mean, it's so much patient-centered care out there. You got to know it can't be everyone is treated the same way. You have to individualize it to where you're dealing with that one person.
What has this done for your like personal empathy level over time?
Well,
I can't imagine, honestly.
You have to love what you do, and a lot of these residents don't have that family there, but we're their family. And I've sat with a lot, even as a nurse and a CNA. I've sat with a lot, holding their hands while they're passing on to the next world, but somebody has to be there with them, and I'd rather be there with them knowing that they're being taken care of than worry that they're not.
Yeah, that's got to be so rough. Like, I don't even like going to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like my dad was recently in the hospital, of course, grandpa. And it's just like a bleak reminder. Like, that's just like a tiny glimpse into what you have to see every day. So, yeah, I'm sure that's...
And then, of course, we this is their home, so we don't just sit around and say, okay, well, they're here and, it's the end of their life. No, we live life to the fullest when they're there. I mean, we have parades, we have parties, we do karaoke. I mean...
what's something you've done recently? I saw you guys doing something that looked super fun and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Did you do like a pageant or something, or was it some sort of costume party?
We've done pageants. We had costume party on Halloween.
Okay.
All the residents dress up. And
that's probably what I saw. It's just recently, yeah. Thanksgiving, do you guys do anything for Thanksgiving just recently? I'm sure or the holidays hard for these people. Yeah,
we do they have a really good Thanksgiving dinner. We'll have it for Christmas also, but any of them that wants their family to come there and eat with them, they come up there and have a meals with them. And a lot of them get checked out and taken home too.
That's good.
And that's good, really good for them. So,
do you see the residents like forming deep personal connections with one another, becoming friends?
We have cliques. We have a lot of cliques.
That's funny.
Yeah, we have little hens that sit out there and watch everything that goes on in the hallway, and they gossip about everything. If I want to know something that's going on, I go talk to them. I had one little resident who used to be she was a past administrator, so she'd come and tell me what I needed to know about what was going on in the evenings because she knew I needed to know. So
wow, yeah.
Of course, you develop you have your favorites. You're not supposed to, but you got your favorites there, and those are the ones that it's even tougher on when something happens to them.
Do you? Are there a lot of facilities like yours around the state?
Yeah. Russellville actually has Russellville Nursing Center and Stella Manor and Legacy Heights. They're the three in Russellville that are the skilled nursing facilities.
Are they trying to build a new one, or is one of those the new one? I remember
Russellville's the newest one.
Okay, wasn't there a facility they either built or couldn't? They wanted to build it on Marina. It was very controversial.
Oh, that was an assisted living facility that was trying to go up on Marina Village.
And it got blocked.
And it got blocked, but they moved down. They built right next door to my house. It's the Arbors.
Okay, is this out kind of towards Center Valley?
Bradley Cove Road.
Okay, yes. Yeah. I was
down past Flying J.
Yeah. I was driving around over that way a few months ago and drove past, and I was like, that's where they put that thing. Yeah,
it's a complete assisted living.
Yeah, kind of not too far outside of town, but
right next door to me though.
Little stone's throw, yeah.
It's up though. So.
Yeah. I hope they didn't impede on your view. No. But at the same time, it's like I would have empathy if they did.
No, I would much rather it been them than it could have been anything.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, exactly.
An assisted living facility, that possibly, if they ever needed to have some rehab, they could always come to my place for some rehab, and I'd bring them back home, when they were ready to. So I'm good with it.
Yeah. What are some other interesting things you've seen on the job that's just like it's either something you've learned from seeing it or like something that blew your mind? I mean, oh man, I know there's got to be a ton of things,
a ton of things.
But like with the lady teaching piano, like those types of things, like that's the stuff that like breakthroughs that you can apply to other clients, Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, very. Man.
I know I'm asking you a ton of questions. You don't have to answer all of them.
No.
I only had 4 written down.
So
it's
many
turned into 50.
That they can look into and read with these residents. But
have you guys noticed anything with like, I know like music, but I've been talking to people about this a lot. I have about, and I mean, I'm what society would call an intellectual, right? But I have about a 7-page reading comprehension. But if that book, like some of those books have pictures in them. The ones on the bottom are martial arts books. But the ones on the top, about 7 pages a day, and then I'm done. And I'll just like notice, like, what did the last page and a half say? I don't remember. But if I listen to the audiobook, my comprehension is through the roof. Like I could listen for 2-3 hours. So I'm an audio visual learner. Like, do you see any differences like in this community of people?
Well, I had one lady who couldn't even tell you what her name was. She didn't recognize her family, didn't know anything other than, we'd have to tell her to go from A to B to C in that order, or she wouldn't know to do it. Turned on Johnny Cash and she could sing every song.
Oh, wow.
Every word, knew every word.
It stores in your brain.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, wow. Like, how and when did we start figuring that out? Do you know? I mean, because that blows my mind. I don't remember what exactly that, but do you have any patients with like Parkinson's? One video I saw a couple years ago, a guy with bad tremors and was able to, it blows my mind.
It just completely stops when they get into a rhythm and they dance, in that Parkinson just like disappears.
Which is back to sort of like routine. Like it's like staying in your routine and your rhythm. Wow.
It can be utter chaos there, and Ben starts singing the Old Rugged Cross, and every one of them just stop, and he has their full attention, and they start singing along.
He can sing too. Wow. Yeah. Does he offer classes there? Does he like do a music class for the residents or anything like that?
He does everything with music. I mean, that's the biggest part of him working back there in the observation unit. That is why I wanted him back there, because of the music.
Yeah.
He plays the piano, he sings, he brings instruments, he does that. He does like some chair yoga with the residents, and he does some preaching, and he reads in the Bible for them, and
with that generation, I think that's
what they do.
I mean, and I'm not saying,
I have some younger ones that want some AC/DC and all that good stuff on, but they're not back there with him.
It's funny. I bought a guitar the other day from Josiah that owns Midtown Coffee, and he was like, "Dude, sweet guitar. It's AC/DC all the way." I was like, "Bro, this is the same guitar that Derek Trucks plays of the Tedeschi Trucks band, and that's why we're buying it." But do you listen to Susan Tedeschi? I bet you would. I don't know what kind of music you listen to, but Derek Trucks played as an 11-year-old boy in the Allman Brothers band. He was a prodigy. His brother is a drummer of Widespread Panic, who Corbin I've seen 25 times. Yeah. But he married this lady that had the Susan Tedeschi band, and he had the Derek Trucks band. Danielle Hausnick and Chris just went and saw him in concert. They just played in Arkansas. Gotcha. But he's a slide guitar player, and he was playing with B.B. King. I saw this viral video, and B.B. King's like, "That's the best slide guitar player I've ever heard." Wow. So this guy, but I just recently scored a Derek Trucks model guitar I'm very excited about. So, but that's awesome that you have that when it seems like you have a very open-minded approach. Are there, like, you ever seen Happy Gilmore? Are there places like that? That's scary. Ben Stiller on the block.
Yeah, there is. And you read about it all the time.
Yeah. That's yeah. I mean, that's what typically do you see with that? You see lawsuits, like does it come to light after years and years and years of abuse? Is it financial?
Well, anytime there's an allegation, of anything, whether it's verbal or, we got several different types of abuse that could be alleged. There's steps that we have to follow within a 2-hour time frame of doing a police report and writing a report up to the Office of Long-Term Care and doing a full investigation to find out whether or not the allegation was true or if it wasn't true. There's steps that we have to go through. There's been some instances to where things were, substantiated and they lost their license. But nothing to the fact of nothing like Happy Gilmore's going on in my place, right. But they are out there. Yeah.
Like, I saw one where like some people were running like a fight club.
Yeah.
I mean, not to laugh at that, but it blew my mind. Like,
it's super scary.
Yeah, that's wild. Do you have any problems with the like residents being aggressive and fighting with each other, like physically?
Well, it's not to the point to where they know that they're doing that. It's more of a, walking by and just, tapping them on the arm and because they're in their way. It's nothing that's
irritation, frustration, irritability.
Right.
Yeah. Which all people struggle with that. I mean, I'm sure, I'm sure they're frustrated.
And they get frustrated and irritated. One lady I have is nonverbal, and her grabbing you and shaking you is the only way she can get your attention to tell you what she wants.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. Way more complex of an operation than I knew. I knew it was large scale, mm-hmm. but that was something that I was like, I can talk to Robin about her blowing my mind with her, the difference in this picture and that picture, and then this, because I knew that you could offer some awesome experience-based mm-hmm. stories. So, well, you got anything exciting coming up? You doing any races? You doing anything goal wise? What's your next?
Well, the Runnersville training group, Runnersville Strong is what we're coming out with this year. February is when we'll start that, and the signups will be coming online for the women in Russellville and the area cities. If they want to come, they can too. And we teach you over a course of our graduation 5K will be, I think, May 2nd. That we will teach them how to pace themselves and do their first 5K. And if they're experienced and they want to come join us, they're more than welcome to do that too. But I'm going to be one of the speed walker coaches. So if they want to come and learn how to walk really fast, I'm all for it.
Cool. Were there any books or anything inspirational that has been helpful to you along the way that you would recommend?
Book-wise, I don't read a whole lot.
If it's not an audiobook anymore.
That is right, because I just don't have the time.
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Right.
Podcasting. Yeah. So, but that too, I'm kind of in a phase where I want information and knowledge more than I want a self-help guru.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would rather just talk to more people and try and develop more empathy to more groups mm-hmm. than, hey, what does this guy Eric Thomas have to say about how I should live my life?
Yeah.
Which it can be beneficial. And I went through 5 or 6 years of reading books and watching The Secret and Law of Attraction and Steve Maxwell and all of these things. And I mean, it was helpful at the time, but it's just been more helpful for me to just focus on my passions and mm-hmm. try and get the right information. So, yeah. Well, so thanks for answering my 50,000 questions.
Oh, anytime.
And taking the time, because I know you're busy. And I just wanted to have you come on because I was inspired. So I thought some other people could maybe listen to your story and also be inspired.
Well,
so
anytime anyone has any questions about my journey, I'm willing to talk to them. My surgery was only a tool. You have to utilize it. You got to work hard. You can't just sit around and say, okay, well, I had this done. Let it work its magic, because it don't work that way.
Yeah.
You got to take that step if it's something you're interested in, because living a life of obesity is even harder, so you got to make a first step to do something.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, Robin.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.